individuals with Williams syndrome are known as having extremely sociable personalities and for exhibiting strength in certain aspects of language, it is important to understand what this tells us about development of language and what might motivate these individuals to express strength in these areas. Individuals with Williams syndrome have a consistent language area of strength, concrete vocabulary. Concrete vocabulary is a domain of language largely focused on object names, names of actions, and descriptors. Individuals with Williams syndrome generally score at an average equivalent to typically developing individuals at the same age range. Other examples of language strengths include non-word repetition or phonological memory, and complex linguistic constructions, which include reversible passives, conditionals, and tag questions. Having strength in these areas is extremely important in language because it allows these individuals to engage and excel in social situations despite any intellectual disabilities they may have. Although many individuals with Williams syndrome do not necessarily lack language, acquisition is significantly delayed, creating developmental issues. In young individuals with Williams syndrome, researchers Mervis and Bellman found significant delays in both 10-word and 50 to 100-word expressive vocabularies. Williams syndrome children rank below the 5th percentile in both levels of vocabulary acquisition. Additionally, researchers found the sequence of certain developmental stages were ordered differently in Williams syndrome children as compared to their typically developing counterparts. In typically developing children, comprehension and production of referential pointing gestures and engagement in triadic joint attention precede the onset of referential expressive language. This is not the case in children with Williams syndrome. Studies have found that Williams syndrome children experience the onset of referential language many months prior to referential pointing. The language development delay may, in part, be related to motor delay in Williams syndrome individuals also experience. Children with Williams syndrome usually do not acquire this skill until much later than their typically developing counterparts. Other examples of Williams syndrome language deficits include unable to conserve numbers and to quantify, lower than average morphological abilities, and overregulation. Based on this information, we are able to conclude that language acquisition and the capacity to perceive and comprehend language is separate from cognition in individuals with Williams syndrome. This may show that individuals with Williams syndrome may be motivated to use language for different reasons than typically developing children. In one study, children with Williams syndrome often use these strengths in communication to avoid having to put forth effort on tasks they find difficult or frustrating. In addition to this, when asked to complete a challenging task, the majority of children with Williams syndrome will try to distract the adult or engage him or her socially rather than attempting to complete the task. This may provide insight into why individuals with Williams syndrome are motivated to use language in the ways that they do and how they apply these strengths. It is clear to see that individuals with Williams syndrome possess distinct characteristics in language that make it important in understanding the field of language development. The motivation of language use in Williams syndrome is still widely discussed within the field, so continued research and support is vital to language development across all realms.